I was not meant for the box life. Like getting up, eating your food from a box, getting into a car that's a box, driving to work that's a box, sitting in an office working on a box, leaving that box, eating in a box, watching a box, and then going to sleep in a box, and at the end of your life you die in a box. I think people at the top are always collaborative. People in the bottom feel like it's a competition. I had a big poster on the wall that said the best project you'll ever work on is you. It's the pill. Everybody wants the pill.
Yeah.
The quick fix. There is no quick fix.
Do you ever feel like you absorb other people's energies when you're working with them? Hiba Balfaqih, aka the Mind Hacker.
What you need is the patience and the curiosity and the willingness to figure your life out. I love it.
Do you think mental health has only become not approved?
It's beautiful to see the progress, the change that's been happening, that mental health is in the forefront.
Hello and welcome to my very first podcast, The Known and Unknown, powered by the Happy Head Hub and brought to you by me, Sophie Kelly Elliott. On today's first episode, we have Hiba Balfaqih, aka the Mind Hacker. I just want to say thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, obviously, thank you.
Because I feel as though I've done a full 360. So I wanted to explain this first before going into all the questions. Around 2 years ago, when I was in my phase of like learning who I was, low on antidepressants, didn't have a clue what was going on in my life. I found you on Instagram.
Okay.
And I used to go through your posts like nearly every single day, just trying to find something to give me some sort of a lift to understand myself. And then when I started this, I thought, okay, who do I really want to be on? So I thought, okay, I'll drop her a message, see if she responds, thinking she probably won't because she's got all these followers. And then here we are today, the very first podcast.
Yeah. Wow, thank you for sharing that story. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Did you know?
No, I didn't.
So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So I want to go straight in.
Let's do it.
Because obviously now you know that I've stalked your Instagram for the past 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
I learned that you had been through different periods of your life as well.
Yes.
And I feel as though, going off what you've posted, you've tried to test the waters in different businesses. And you've had a lot of failed businesses as well.
For sure. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So I think the best way to caveat all this is we're programmed to believe that we're put on this earth to be one thing. And as you go through your journey of unlearning, you start to understand that, you know, like you try to find your footing, or you start to feel like, where am I going to fit in? And I think that was my journey with businesses. It was like, where do I fit in? And what I understood is when it's not for you, no matter how good the idea is or how good the business is, it's just not going to work. Because there's some divine power that is guiding you to what actually is going to work for you. And we have to develop kind of like calluses along the way, so that when you actually get to the path you're supposed to be on, get to that business that's actually meant for you, your joy, your soul, things become seamless. So I think from a very young age, I knew that I was not meant for the box life. And what do I call by the box life is like getting up, you know, eating your food from a box, getting into a car that's a box, driving to work that's a box, sitting in an office working on a box, leaving that box, eating in a box, watching a box, and then going to sleep in a box, and at the end of the life you die in a box.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yes. So I knew from a very early age that I was not designed for the box life.
And how did you give the box life a name? Had you heard of it before, or did you...
I saw it. Like I could see that this was a box life. Like it was like the Truman Show. I felt like we were on the Truman Show and we just had to go through this life consistently. And I was like missing the purpose. My question was always like, why is everyone doing the exact same thing? And it always made me curious, but made me confused because I had conflicting emotions internally. But everything externally is guiding me for that box life. Everyone's talking about the box. So you doubt yourself and you're like, maybe I have to go into the box shop. And I went into the box life. And at the top of my career, in the box life. I was depressed, miserable, unfulfilled. I hit all the goals that I wanted to hit. I got all the money that I wanted to have. And I was still like, so I'm 25, 26 right now. This is supposed to be the pinnacle moment of my life. You know, why don't I feel fulfilled? And that kind of started like this numbness to life. Like, is this how I'm going to have to live the rest of my life? I have to do 70, 80 more years of this. I'm ready to check out. I'm done. Like, this is,
Yeah.
you know, like it just was very unfulfilling for me. And
I feel as though 25 though is quite a young age to actually come to that realization, which is a mature realization.
And I think because already by that age, I've achieved so much. So
Yeah.
I was like, at like 25, 26, I was already like regional head of a multinational company in HR. And I've
Wow.
already had like 2 to 3 international experiences, you know? And it's like, and I was being paid a shit ton of money. And I already had a master's. And it's like everything that you think you should have by that age, I had the box.
Yeah.
Success. I had that already. And you're just like, okay, maybe it's the next pay grade. Maybe, and then at one point you're going to be like, So I was quick to realize there's something missing. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt there was something missing.
Okay.
And then I went through something called the dark night of the soul around the age of 28. And that for me was the worst time of my life, but also a blessing. During 26 to 28, I thought the solution to this was doing more. And that's when I started dabbling in businesses, like putting money here, trying to be like, I just want to feel something. And I wasn't feeling anything. And I was confused to why I wasn't feeling this dream that they tell you will achieve at some point.
Yeah.
So 28, I had 3 major things happen. The first thing is my dad was diagnosed with cancer. That was a big deal, and it was like something like I've never been around somebody getting sick and watching their health deteriorate. My father was a very intellectual businessman. He played a big role as a role model in my life. Then the second thing is I invested money with a friend at that point, 1.5 million, all the money I was making.
Dirhams or dollars?
Dirhams at that point.
Okay.
And that was all my money. Like, we wanted to start a business together. And she took the money and ran away. Yeah.
No, that's actually just gives me chills.
Yeah, everything. And then the third thing,
So you were left with nothing.
0. Yeah. Nada. Nothing.
So did you report this?
We were in court for 4 years. I won the court case. She filed bankruptcy. I never got money again. If we're going to sidetrack.
So it was a waste of time.
Yeah, it was a waste of more money. I had to put more like $300K, and I got into debt because of lawyers and courts and stuff like that. So I went to the negative because I wanted to fight for my right, but yeah.
Okay.
You know? And then those same month from all the stress, what also happened was I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes due to stress. So background, so I was always healthy. I always ate healthy food. I worked out. I had a personal training certificate by the age of 18, 19. I was into nutrition since I was like 14 years old, you know, and that was my lifestyle. So being diagnosed with diabetes, you're just like, what the F?
Yeah.
Right? How? And I think losing your health, losing your finances, and losing your support system and love, kind of your father, all at the same time within those 3-month period was devastating. And I went into like a 6 months of functional depression. And functional depression means you function and you do life, but you're dead inside. And I say that's the best and the worst time of my life. Best because I had to experience that darkness to get out of it. But when I got out of it, I changed my whole entire life. Like I went from I'm going to follow the status quo. I'm going to be in this box to if this is rock bottom, I don't care what anything is. I don't want to be here. And the only way is I'm going to do this my way. And I shifted and I started to be like, okay, I'm going to do things my way.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of kind of like really finding out who I am, really understanding what I wanted to do in life. When people would be like, this is the right way to do something, I'd be like, is it? Challenging every strain of thought that someone throws at you. I'm like, why do you think that way? Why is that the correct thought? Is it yours? Is it learned? where did this thought process come from?
Yeah.
You know, and tracing it back and to understand, is it even what I believe in? And I started to understand that most of the stuff we believe in isn't ours.
Yeah.
It's not ours.
Yeah. It's passed down through your generations. You mentioned that your dad was huge in business.
Yeah.
Do you think because you've watched him as a young girl, that was why your mentality
So
was
my
the same?
dad worked in the same company from he was like 18 to 60.
Okay.
He worked up the ladder. He was a mail person, like the mailman,
Yeah,
up
yeah.
until the CEO of Ernst and Young.
Wow.
Yes. Okay.
That's
so
incredible.
yeah, so he worked. So I understood hard work, determination, education, growth, because what took him from one stage to another was growth. He focused on learning and learning and learning and learning more and learning more, and he had this thirst to life about learning. I definitely learned that from him. After he retired, he didn't want to stay at home, but he was forced retired at 60. So he started his own business. And I saw this other phase of him going through this, you know, this challenge of starting his business, running it, being super stressed out, you know. I think he just should have retired, you know, and enjoyed life. But I think he would have died not like being retired.
Not fulfilled.
Yeah, he would have died being retired. This man doesn't know anything about hard work. So telling him sit down and watch TV and enjoy your day and go on vacation, he doesn't understand. He left his house at 8, 9 years old. Like he was in extreme poverty, and he left his house at 8, 9 to fiend for his family, you know, to provide. So he doesn't know what rest means or enjoyment. You know, he knows hard work. So at 60, he definitely needed to start something.
Yeah.
And he passed away around, he was 80 years old when he passed. So he worked until he got diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
He worked till that, and he was still answering emails while he was in his cancer journey.
Wow.
So I learned a lot of hard work from him. I understood dedication. I understood discipline. He was a very disciplined man. And I also understood that growth in education is super important. So we were constantly learning. I'm like obsessed with learning. So till today, I'm listening to audiobooks every day, podcasts, trying to go on courses, whatever, to feed my mind and my soul. And that's definitely him. He would always be reading a book. Every day you'd walk in the house, he's sitting there on the couch after work reading a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny you should say that, because just yesterday, actually, I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram, I did a story about this. So I made a Q&A a couple of days ago, and I said to everybody, what is everyone else doing that you are not doing? Because they're just in their normal world doing the 9 to 5. What are you doing that's different to them to make you successful? And I would say 90% of the responses was, I'm still in education.
Yeah.
And some of these people are like in their 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when I finished my education, I was like, I am never doing this again. Like, I am burnt out. I don't want to do it again. But then as you become older, you actually realize, especially if you're in business like yourself, that it is so important.
100%. Yeah.
It's like, it's like nutrition. Like
100%.
It's for your mind.
You need that for your own expansion as a soul on this journey. Nothing in this life doesn't grow. Like from the plant. You need the plant, you need to water the plant, and it needs to grow. If something's not growing, it's dying.
Yeah.
We're exactly the same thing. If we're not growing, we're dying. There's a lot of people that are alive but dead.
Yes.
And we know this and we see this.
Yeah.
Right?
And you'll be surprised how many people you'll speak to, and you're like, do you listen to podcasts? Do you read? And they look at you as if you've got two heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I literally don't understand that.
Box life.
I love that.
Comes in a premium package. Box life. You know, it is. It's
I
the
love
box
it.
life. It's the box life. And they don't know any better. Because
Which is sad.
Yes, because they're conditioned. And then this is for me like one of the most important things that I stand for is I want to show my nieces and nephews that there's another way. Like there's another way to life, you know? So they now can see the option of, oh, you know, we don't have to be traditional. We don't have to be like the norm, the conventional. We don't have to have a 9 to 5. There's another possibility that I never saw growing up. So for me, it was like this, like, you know, you had to go through the volcano to erupt to get there. For them now, it's normal. for somebody to be an entrepreneur. It's normal for somebody not to have a 9 to 5. It's normal to work from around the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And for me, that's kind of like part of like, when you say what's your purpose, I'm like, I love that they can see a different, that means I broke a pattern, a generational pattern, a generational cycle, by just them having the ability to see that there's another way to do it. I've done my thing, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Dark Night of the Soul before. How did you cope with it? What did you do mentally and physically even?
Everything. I started off the day I decided that enough was enough. I woke up the next day, I went back to my fitness routine and my nutrition, because that was the first thing you neglect when you go into depression. So I made sure that I was back on track. The second thing, I already knew that I had to get my mind right. So I replaced all the binge TV that I was doing during that time with all the mental books that I wanted to read, the mental exercises. I got into meditation. I got into the pursuit of bettering myself. I had a big poster on the wall that said, the best project you'll ever work on is you. And I kept that, and every day I woke up, I saw that, and I'm like, today we're working on me.
Yeah.
It was, and I took this whole concept of working to yourself, like all the dedication that I put in a job, I put it in myself. After a year of like feeling like, okay, I'm in a better space, I started to look at the next part of my life was, what am I doing in this career? Like, I enjoy it, it's fun, I feel unfulfilled. I got like psychosomatic symptoms. My hips would pain every time I went to the office, and I couldn't sit down on the desk. I would work standing up.
Wow.
I was like 30 at that point, and the doctors were telling me, we're going to get a hip replacement for you, because they didn't understand what was going on.
But you hold your trauma in your hips.
There we go. And it was my body feeling stuck in the office. And then I made a gut decision. I didn't know what my next move was. I didn't have any plans or whatever. And I was just like, I'm just going to quit. And I resigned from a very high paying job that was so easy to do. I was the head of employee engagement and happiness, like such a fun job.
Yeah.
I had a budget of $2 million of just creating entertainment and fun for the employees. Like, it was such a fun job. You look at it from the outside, you're like, that was just cush, right?
Yeah.
I was miserable, Sophie, miserable. And my body was like giving me the symptoms, it's time to get out. And I resigned, and I took on the next flight, went back home to Canada for the summer, and I woke up, I got off the flight. There was no hip pain on the flight. You'd think after a 16-hour flight, there'll be hip pain. There was no hip pain. I got into Canada. I went down, woke up the first night, went running. Hip pain never came back. It disappeared after I left.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit, my body wants me to get
Yeah,
out. Like,
yeah.
and that was it. And then I just started to figure out what I wanted to do. At that point, I was already on the works of the Smash Room, so that was happening. But I didn't, like, that was just going to be a business that I started. It wasn't my what I wanted to do. The way I got to mind hacking was being obsessed. Obsessed is the key word, with bettering myself. And because I got obsessed with bettering myself, I became a professional at finding the solutions and reprogramming my mind. And then people are around me going, wow, you're different. You changed. How are you so chill? How are you so relaxed? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just working on my mindset. And then I'd have one conversation with a person, and they'll be like, oh, I feel so much better. And then a week later, they're like, I don't know what you said to me, but you changed something. And I was like, wait, maybe I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
You know, can I bring what I'm doing into like a system? Because I'm very also left brain, like I need steps and processes. I'm like, how? And I was against talk therapy. Like, so I studied psychology, but I didn't go into talk therapy because I always felt we didn't resolve it. We just talked about it, but there was no resolve to it. Like, I needed 100% certainty that when you leave after an hour, things will change.
Yes.
And for me, a lot of talk therapy festered the issue, but didn't resolve it. And I would spend the whole week until my next session in therapy feeling some type of way. And I didn't like that. So I was like looking at all these methods that I've accumulated now from this pursuit of curiosity. And I was like, let me see that if I can create like 6 steps that I can do, and I'll practice them. So I created 6 steps, and I was like, all right, I think this is what I do. Because it was very unconscious. I'm like, I think this is what I do. Let me practice. And I practiced for about like 100, 200 people. Just like anybody who meets me, I'm like, do you want to talk for 45 minutes about your anxiety? Let me try something on you. And when people started to come back and be like, I don't know what you did to me, but it was like magic, my anxiety left.
Okay.
And I was like,
So what are your 6 steps?
my 6 steps. Oh, that's the secret now. I
Okay.
can't give you the secret.
Can you give me 1 or 2?
I think the first one is really understanding what the problem is. Like what
The root cause.
No, what is the problem? Most people just say I'm anxious. Are you really anxious? Or do you think you're anxious? Maybe you're worried, you're not anxious. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you're irritated. So being able to label it correctly, and you need another set of eyes to help you label it, is the first step to solving the whole mystery.
Yeah.
Because if you call it anxiety and it's not, you're starting to look for where it is, the root cause of anxiety, but that wasn't your problem in the first place. Maybe you felt unsafe. And that's what's creating the anxiety. So because you labeled it as anxiety, you're looking somewhere different in your mind. So labeling it, number one step is labeling it correctly, really understanding that there's 36,000 emotions, 36,000, and you probably only know 6. And getting familiar with your emotions is the first step to unlocking so much for you.
Yeah.
Most people only know 6 emotions, 5 of them being very bad ones.
Negative.
Yeah.
Do you find that difficult as a therapist to understand? Like when you're trying to help the client understand their emotions and they don't know. It's like...
That's very common that people don't know their emotions. So my job is to get you to the closest emotion possible that you understand. So even if you don't know the emotion, I need to bring it as close as possible for you to be like, you know what? It can be that. And just that acceptance that it can be something else opens up another door for you. You know, it's like all of this awareness is the key to everything.
Yeah.
So if I can make you aware that it might not be anxiety and it could be unsafety, you've just unlocked a door.
Okay.
And your mind will help you do the rest.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that we're here to bridge the gap. I'm not here to do anything for you, just bridge the gap and repeat to you something that you feel complexed about in a very simple way. And when I'm able to do that, you can connect the dots to yourself. Everybody's a self-healer, and that's kind of my whole journey right now with mind hacking, is to be like, y'all don't need a therapist. You can do it yourself.
Yes.
You're a self-healer. You just need the right tools, and they need to be explained in the most simplest way possible. And you are with yourself every single day, and you need these tools every single day.
Yeah.
You don't need that one. Okay, it's good to have that 1 hour therapy, but that cannot just be you don't brush your teeth once a week.
No, it's constant.
It's constant. So what do you need in order for you to do that on a day-to-day basis until you see your therapist?
Yes. One thing I found really bizarre, so when I did my NLP course, I started that course originally for me.
Yes.
It was a 4-week intense course to basically, like, it was 12 hours a day, and it was intense.
Yes.
And it was intense because you're on that with 12 people who you don't know, and then you all thrown into it, and you become a family, and you get to know everyone's deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah.
And everyone's crying, and you come home and you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do it again
Yeah.
tomorrow, but you get up and you do it again.
Yeah.
And when we got to the point of learning that actually, when you have a client sitting in front of you, actually your job is to get the answer out of them. It's not your job to give them the answer. So when I went through therapy, I just wanted my therapist to say,
This is what you should do.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is your problem, this is what you need to do.
It's the pill. Everybody wants the pill.
Yeah.
The quick fix. There is no quick fix. You know, there is no quick fix to anything. What you need is the patience and the curiosity and the willingness to figure your life out. We're just so conditioned for instant gratification. We're so conditioned that things have to happen fast.
Yes.
That does not necessarily have to happen for all of us the same way. Your healing journey can be fast, but actually most of the time, when you figure something out for yourself, when you have your own realization, your own aha moment, the change, the neural pathways in your brain, the change that happens is so beneficial for you that the change is everlasting just because you came up with it.
Yeah.
The aha moment, that's the biggest jump neurologically that happens in your brain. The rewiring happens so quickly because you had a aha moment. people don't want an aha moment anymore. They just tell me so I can do it and moving on. It's this like just got to do culture.
Yeah.
Just do culture, yeah?
Yeah.
I just want the result.
Brush it under the carpet. Let me just.
It's
move
not a
on.
results game. It's a journey
Yeah.
game. Our healing journey is a journey. Like people ask me today, like they're like, are you done? Are you healed? I'm like,
No.
I go to therapy every week. I work on myself nearly every day. Every conversation I have when I do a behavior that I'm curious about, I'm just like, interesting. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why did I react that way? Why does it? Yes, my nervous system is very calm. My nervous system is regulated, but there's still things that will dysregulate me.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a journey, and we have to move away from this judgment of how long is the journey or is there an end goal to I love and I'm obsessed and so devoted to bettering myself that this can be forever and I can enjoy it. That's the mindset we have to get into. It's not, you're not fixing yourself. We have to get out of this whole idea that we need to fix ourselves and more of this is me being devoted. This is self-love, being devoted to the betterment of myself. And when we can go from like, I'm broken, I have to fix myself, to I enjoy this journey of self-devotion, it's forever then. You're going to do it with ease because you don't feel burdened or not or pressure or not unworthy. You feel good. So you're going to do it forever.
I love that.
Yeah.
So just going off what you've said, it sounds like you found your purpose naturally.
Yeah.
You didn't just think one day, oh, I want to be a therapist and I'm going to make a huge business out of it.
No.
You got there naturally.
Organically, yeah.
Organically. Which, now I know clients are confidential.
Yes.
I don't want you to be like Sarah from 2020. Which client confirmed your purpose and how?
I think my best friend, actually.
Okay.
Because I was doing all these sessions on my best friends, and then one day she said to me, she's like, next time I'm paying because this is bullshit. You're on to something crazy. You just hacked my mind. And that's where the name mind hacking came from.
Oh.
She said to me, you hacked my mind. She's like, I don't know what magic you did, but you hacked my mind. And that's how I actually got the name.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's definitely the one person that like I knew then I was onto something.
Yeah.
I was hearing the feedback, but when she said it to me, and this is somebody I really respect, so when she's saying this is something big, I believed. I was like, all right, let's go. And I saw how it, like I never did advertising, and I was just like organic stuff. People would just leave the session, tell another person, and then you went from like 3 bookings a week to 30 bookings a week. And then a wait list, and then, months in advance.
How do you find time?
I'm very structured, disciplined, right? So I
Okay.
knew exactly how to create, like, when I first started, I was working 24 hours. Now I'm in a point where I only work 3 times a week. And that's it. And
That's
I have
amazing.
5 sessions on these 3 days, and so I see 15 people. Next year, I'm changing completely the way I work. I'm only going to work with select people. Now I have coaches who have already trained with the whole mind hacking. Like I have the whole school of mind hacking. So now people can go learn the mind hacking method, become coaches, blah, blah, blah. So
Wow, Hiba, that's amazing.
I'm just it's ever evolving. Every year it's different.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I'm only going to work with a certain type of personality that I know they will be able to give back and make a bigger impact in the world. So I want to focus on people, the 1% that want to make a bigger impact on the world.
So the people who genuinely want it.
They want to make a big impact on the world. They have a big life vision.
Do you ever come across people who actually don't want to change?
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
I respect their choice.
And you don't work with them? Or
I don't work with them, no. Yeah, I respect their choice, and I'm not the right coach for them or the right therapist for them. If I feel you're not ready, I will tell you from the first session, this is not your time yet. Don't waste your money. Sit and simmer in it a little bit. Sometimes people need to feel the pain for a little bit longer before they're ready. And they'll come back to me 2 years later and say like...
Something must have made them come to you in the first place though. It's like, it's something I don't understand, because it's like, you don't want to change, but why are you sitting here? What made you come?
Sometimes people just want to be heard. They don't want to change. They just want to hear your story. They want their story to be heard.
Yeah.
They don't want to change. Not everybody wants to change. And that's something, for me, I have to respect everybody's journey and know that not everybody is alpha type A personality.
Yeah.
Some people are just not like that. And some people just really want to be heard. And it's not my place to judge their journey. It's my place to be like, I'm just not your Kit Kat. Go find your Kit Kat, right? I'm just not your person, right?
Yeah.
You need to find somebody that will, like, I know people that go to therapists and they do session after session and session, and they just go there and vent. I'm not that therapist. You can't sit and vent for me for an hour. I want to fix something. I want to go into your subconscious and I want to rework it and rewire it. So I would immediately be like, if you're looking for talk therapy or somebody to vent to, not your person, I can recommend this person, this person, this person, because that's your method that will work for you. But we both have to be a perfect fit for each other.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't like to say no to clients because of scarcity mindset. Like, if I say no to them, what if I don't get a client again? For me, it's like, if I'm not enjoying the session, I don't want to do it.
Yes.
I don't, like, it's a disservice to you and a disservice to me. For me to, we both have to have maximum enjoyment in the session. And I think the people that I work best with now are people who understand that this is a reciprocal energy and that we're both here to maximize their potential, but I'm also not responsible for their change. I'm here to help you, but I'm not responsible for it. So the day you don't want to show up for yourself, I'm not going to show up for you. That's your responsibility. So accountability on your own process and journey is super important. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you absorb other people's energies when you're working with them?
I do, and I did in the beginning. That's a very, like, I did in the beginning take work home or internally.
Yeah.
And then there's ways that you just start to understand that you can keep their energies with them and not take it on. So there's a little bit of detachment from the outcome, detachment from what happens, but also detachment doesn't mean I'm not compassionate and empathetic with you. I can be that without that. So yes and no. Like, now I'm at a stage where whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I'm empathetic and I'm compassionate. I'm holding your space, but I'm not carrying yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that. Boundaries.
Boundaries, yeah.
Do you feel you're quite a spiritual person?
I'm very spiritual.
Do you protect yourself in any sort of way before?
Oh, I sage, I meditate. San Paulo.
San Paulo,
Yeah. Crystals. But my favorite is a golden light meditation that I do
Love
every
it.
day.
Yeah.
Zip myself up energetically, like zip myself. Yeah, a lot.
Love
Yeah.
that.
I don't let people coming into my house, like there's a whole ceremony before you come in,
Ceremony when you
yeah,
leave.
Yeah, I have a whole like sound healing that plays on every day in my house for hours and hours just to make sure the vibrations are aligned. So yes, 100% very spiritual.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Okay, so the other week, I think it was last week, I saw you posted something on your story. And it was two hands, and one hand was young and one hand was old. And it said, "The journey is short, make it count." How will you do that?
By being myself every day, by experiencing joy every day, by allowing myself to explore life every day, full stop. There is no big goal or big thing. I've removed that conditioning from myself, that like I need to save the planet kind of bullshit. Our life purpose is to experience it. And that can be experiencing my coffee, like I told you, I'm nurturing my coffee when we first started. That's an experience. That's as important as saving the world. And when we start looking at life, that this little moment of savoring your coffee is as important as achieving the big things, you've fulfilled your journey. You've experienced it. You're going to make every moment count. And I think the one thing that we tend to forget is we do a lot of things we don't enjoy. That's life is short. So what can I do to enjoy every moment? And it can be little things and big things. It can be as simple as being on a podcast, and it can be as big as like, let's go travel the world. But we've been so conditioned to put so much weight on the big things that we've neglected the little things.
Yeah.
And for me, like in every moment, if I just choose a little bit of happiness, a little bit of savoring, a little bit of resting in the moment, a little bit of just that microsecond being present, that my life is going to be so full. Yeah.
So do you think with that, like, when your day comes, unfortunately it will for all of us, with that mindset, do you feel like you would leave fulfilled?
Yeah. I always ask myself, what would I regret? If I'm like in a rocking chair at 80, what would I regret not doing? One of the things that came out last year, it was not about business or work. It was like riding a motorcycle. I went and got my motorcycle license.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I went ahead and did it. Business, actually, there's a research that said that they asked, I don't know, about 1,000 people that are about to die, what's their biggest regret? No one mentioned business, life purpose, saving the world, none of that. Everyone was like the micro details. Like, I wish I spent more time with my family. I wish I exercised younger, when I could have. I wish I traveled. Everything was about joy. I think I don't remember the name of the book, but I'll send it to you. But it was all about these interviews with people who were about to die. No one ever mentioned job, career, saving the world. Everybody talking about moments. So I asked myself this question a lot. And the thing that popped up last year was like, I'd regret never being on a motorcycle. I was like, done. That's what I'm doing.
And did you have your license before?
No, I never had it. So what I did is I went and I learned how to get ride a motorcycle. Then I went to Bali and I rented a motorcycle and I went all over and I went on the beach and the quads and like just did everything I wanted to do with a motorcycle. Now it's become a part of my life. I'm customizing my motorcycle. So I'm just like living and
you need to get the mind hacker on the side of it.
100%, right? And like, you see, that's joy. Like, that's something that I was sitting there and I'm going, when I'm 80, I'm going to be like, oh, I didn't ride a motorcycle.
Has that always been something you've wanted to do?
No, it just popped in that moment. And
randomly?
It popped in that moment and I followed through.
And now you're so...
I love it.
That's like...
I love it.
Normally people are like, I've had this dream since being a little girl, and you're like, randomly one day I just wanted to ride a motorcycle, so I went and got my license.
I was like writing a list of all the things I would regret, and number one would be like, I never rode a motorcycle. And the next one is fly a helicopter, so it's coming.
Wow.
I want to fly a helicopter.
You want to have your own, or you want to just fly one?
I want to fly one. I want to learn how to fly one, So I'm like, it's going to come up.
I love that.
Because when I'm 80 and we're sitting on the rocking chair, I'm going to be like, Sophie, remember when I flew that helicopter? And you're going to be like, yeah, that was amazing. We talked about it in the podcast. I'm like, I know, girl.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's life.
But that's also, you have no limitations to your dreams. Like, some people wouldn't even dare say that out loud because they'd think that sounds so ridiculous.
Unconventional. We have to think outside the box. Yeah. We're not here for the box, People thought it was unconventional for women to be sitting here and having this conversation a couple of years ago. We're here having these conversations, right? People thought it was unconventional to work from home. We're working from home. Everything in life changes. Everything in life is unconventional. It's really just up to us to figure out what's up.
Okay, so you talk a lot about your inner child regularly on your social media. My question is, where was she when she was younger?
Like physically, or where was she?
Like mentally, emotionally.
I don't think she existed.
Okay.
She was invisible.
Okay. Because I want to know where she was, where she is now, and where you want her to go.
I think she was invisible. She was neglected. She was abused. She was unseen. And I think part of the journey was reminding her that she's so worthy. Actually, on my phone, I have a picture of my dog, and then when you swipe, it's a picture of my inner child. It's a picture of me as a child. Okay. And for me, that's a constant reminder that I see you and I'm doing everything for you. Like, you're my motivation. So my inner child was definitely neglected, unseen, unworthy, abused, malnutrition, everything. And for me, then, when the healing journey, was more about reminding her she is worthy, she is seen. It was this constant reminding, reparenting, that you are enough, you are worthy. And I think today where she is she's happy, she's joyous, she's free. And I think the journey is to be able to now, where the stage I'm in, is make my teenage self feel the same way as my inner child, because the inner teenager also needs some love. And then when you move on from inner teenager, which not a lot of people talk about, they only talk about inner child.
Yes.
Your inner teenager is the next step. And after the inner teenager, you have to go to your inner adult until you become wise. So there's a full-on journey. So I feel my inner child is in a very, very good place. My inner teenagers right now is being reminded that she is worthy, she is enough, she is perfect as she is, and she has to do nothing. And when she remembers that she is everything, we move on to the adult. So that's why the journey is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of going from the child to the teenager to the adult. Like, you're the first person I've ever
Yeah.
heard say that. Did you hear it from someone else, or is that something that just come to you naturally?
That came to me naturally because I saw my own journey. So a lot of the stuff I teach comes from my own experience and my own journey. I'm like my first guinea pig. That's what I always say. Like I always practice on myself, see if it works out, and then I move forward and I teach it. I like people to know this piece of information. I love to share knowledge because I feel it's like very important for people just to have the tools. You'll see my Instagram, I'm trying to show you I've done it, and all the stuff kind of repeats back to me because I'm nobody's guru. I'm not perfect. I'm learning, and I'm sharing the tools that have helped me. Hopefully they help you, but there's a million other tools out there that will help you too.
Yes.
You know, it's just about finding what works for you. And
do you ever find people come to you and say, your tools don't help me?
I've not had that experience, but I've had people who are on the journey with me choose to try other things. And I actually, from day one, if you come to any of my mind hacking classes, I'm like, try different teachers, try different methodologies, because you don't know what is the right one for you. You might like me, but I don't want you to devote your whole entire life to me. Like, no, go. I will even tell you which teachers to go to. You know, a part of what I do on my retreats, some of my retreats, is my teachers I bring in so that they can actually interact with my students. So I think people at the top are always collaborative. People in the bottom feel like it's a competition. And part of my thing is I'm going to collaborate with everybody, whoever you are, because we're here with the main vision of all of us getting better as a collective.
Do you feel like there's a lot of competition in Dubai? Like, how do you feel Dubai is for your business?
I don't see competition. That's the problem. I don't see competition. I see colleagues in the field. I feel like there's so many in the field that are just collaborating. Now, my energy will repel anybody who's competitive because I just don't attract that into my reality. You know, I love collaboration. I love working with different people, and nobody, you don't have to have 100,000 followers in order for me to collaborate with you. I'll collaborate with anybody as long as I feel genuinely you're here to do something that is from heart, not ego. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's collaborate. And do I hear stories about competition in Dubai? For sure. Not my reality.
Yeah.
You know, I feel your work speaks for you, your energy speaks for you, your soul speaks for you. So you'll always attract the people that are meant for you. Yeah.
Do you think mental health has only become, how should I say it, like, not approved, but like, it wasn't a thing.
It was taboo, right?
In Dubai.
It was taboo in a lot of countries in the world, you know. It's just taboo. And I think we're getting re-educated about this. It's beautiful to see the progress, the change that's been happening, that mental health is in the forefront. For sure it's important, but like everything has its growth period. Everything has divine timing. And now it's divine timing for all of consciousness to understand that their mental health is a priority.
Yeah.
And there's some countries right now that have never heard of mental health.
Yes.
Life is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
We're transmuting, and right now we're in this beautiful phase in Dubai where mental health is a priority.
Do you think sometimes people use it as like a fashion or...
But then in everything in life, right? Everything in life will have the good, the dark, the ugly, you know, like there's in everything in life. I don't think just in mental health. I mean, I take like, for example, look at social media. People can use social media for a beautiful thing and they can use it. I think everything in life is an amplifier. It amplifies you. If you are bad at your core and you're an ugly person, whatever career you do is going to amplify you.
Yes.
If you're good at heart and you're kind and you're just a chill person, whatever you do is going to amplify you. We're amplified with what's around us. So if you see people taking advantage of mental health and that's an amplifier of them, not of mental health. It has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
They would do that with money. They would do that with the next career.
Yeah.
It's people. So who are you at your essence?
I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the final question that I feel like I have loads of questions now that we've talked, but the ones that I've wrote down. Final question, what makes a successful entrepreneur in life coaching, therapy, any sort of coaching in that field?
I would say consistently bettering yourself. So always looking for how to better yourself, because once you better yourself, you better your business. Once you better yourself, you better how you serve your clients. And if you better serve your clients, you get more clients. So it's always bettering yourself. Never being like, I know some coaches that haven't hit a therapy session in the last 3 years, haven't hit a course in the last 3 years. I'm like, do you know that the science of the mind has been outdated by the last time you read that book? It's like every year new science and research comes out that makes the information obsolete of what you've just heard.
Yes.
Like it does no longer apply. So we need to always be bettering ourselves, bettering our knowledge. And when you better yourself in anything that you do, the energy just comes back to you.
And it's so important, like the therapist needs therapy.
100%.
And another thing that I loved as well is the therapy course that I did. She's amazing, and she constantly changes the course. So once you've purchased the course, which is a hell of a lot of money, you've purchased the course. And you can go back and you can do it again
100%.
and again and again and again. And she's doing this course like every 4 months. And some of my friends that I did it with, when they've gone back recently, I didn't do the recent one, but recently they're like, it's completely different to what we learned last time.
Because you have to update it 100%. That's the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
She's bettering herself, bettering her content. Perfect. Yeah.
And do you feel like when you're with your clients, like if you had a similar client, if you had 2 similar clients, do you feel like you're constantly changing your approach?
I always learn new methods and methodologies. Like I invest a lot of money in myself to learn new things, but also to experience new things. And from that, I'm able to bring them for each client individually. Because it's, you know, if you have a hammer, you can't use the hammer to unlock your curtain. You need another tool. So as a therapist, you need to have multiple tools in your toolbox for each individual person. And some clients will need multiple tools for you to use. You can't be a one-trick pony. You gotta have a facet of tools to use. And the part where it makes you good is knowing which tool to use at what time. And every client is different. And you never always need to be upgrading those tools. You know, be using AI right now with your tools, right?
Yes.
You gotta be updating yourself. 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I feel as though I don't know, you've just brought so much like positivity and love and light, and such a genuine person as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a personal
Yes,
question?
for sure.
Out of anyone in the world, who inspires you the most?
Anyone in the world at any point of time?
Anyone.
It's a good question. So my favorite answer is always Tony Robbins, but I think I want to change it.
Okay.
Because Tony Robbins has inspired me for the longest time and is part of the reason who I am today. But I'm going to change that and say that right now the one person that inspires me is Viola Davis.
Okay.
Do you know who she is?
No.
Viola Davis is an American actress.
Right.
And she's gone through it, you know, and she's gone through the works. And she's 50 something right now. She just got married.
Love that.
Like she just started her life right now at 50. But she used mental health as a gateway for her to recreate her life. And I can see, like, as a woman who's gone through all the hell she's gone through, struggling and surviving, and like, you know, like if you listen to her book, like she lived in a house where there was rats on her bed sleeping with her. And for her to be like an Emmy award winning person, and right now if you go to her social media, it's all about positivity, mindset, and she uses her voice today to remind you that, you know, you don't have to do anything to be worthy. And I'm there in my life right now where I'm moving from the Tony was you have to do something to matter to you have to do absolutely nothing to matter. You just matter, full stop. And I love that. Like, I love her message. So she inspires me. And one of my things, like, I hope I meet her one day. Yeah.
That's amazing. Sleep with rats on her bed.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Listen to her book. It's Viola Davis. Her book is her biography. You will cry.
That's absolutely. I've actually never heard of it. I'm shocked.
She's from How to Get Away with Murder. Do you know that show? if you see her, you will know her.
Some people are probably going to watch this and be
Yeah.
like, Sophie, really?
Yeah, and then like she's on like Netflix with Oprah. She's done like a Netflix special where she came and talked about her story.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll have to watch that then.
Yeah. I mean, read the book, then watch that.
Okay.
I think the book, because she's just such a great reader and writer, and like it's just, she's a good storyteller, and you can feel everything she says. And I've known her from her journey from back in like Broadway days, so I've always watched her. Something appealed to me.
You just had a connection.
I didn't know what appealed to me until I read the book, and I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand the journey. I understand. And she's now, like, I don't follow a lot of celebrities. I try not to have a lot of clutter in my brain. She's one of the only top five that I follow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much
Thank
for sharing
you, Zoe.
that. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm going to ask you one question.
Go on.
If you could be any kitchen utensil,
Oh.
what would you be?
Wow. Okay. I think I would be a pair of tongs.
Okay.
Because they're diverse and they could be used for absolutely
Yeah.
anything.
Okay.
Like me personally, if I need, you pick something up, you get a pair of tongs.
Okay.
Anything, whatever you could put your sausage, bit of bacon, pasta. If you put it on a dish,
Okay. Tells me a lot about you.
you should be able to have your fingers in many different pies. I think,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. It's interesting.
What vibe are you getting from that?
No, I know a lot about your personality.
What do you think?
Yeah, I just stay tuned for our next episode.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it tells me a lot about you. So
is it a negative thing or a
it's
positive
good. It's
thing?
a positive thing about your personality. You're a go-getter, so you want to take action. You want to be involved in everything. You probably want to control a lot of things as well.
Yes.
Okay. You are going to be like a jack of all trades. Okay, which is great because you know the saying, jack of all trades, master of none. But it's better to be, there's a continuation of that, but it's better to be a master of all than a master of none.
Okay.
There's this saying, a jack of all trades, but a master of none, is taken as a negative term, but they've just got the first bit of it.
Yes.
The full actual sentence is, a jack of all trades, master of one, but it's better to be a master of all than a master of none.
None. Okay.
So that's an amazing thing to be. It's like curiosity killed the cat. There's a continuation.
Yes.
Okay, but satisfaction brought her back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's so many of these beliefs that people just say that they're using so wrong because they haven't finished the full sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
There should be a book on them.
Yeah, we should do one.
Yes, we should write them all down.
Yeah, because it's like people think being a jack of all trades is wrong.
Yeah,
but actually, if you continue, it says, but it's better to me mastering all of them than mastering none of them, or one. It's like, So so that tells me that about you, because you wanted to be in like different places. You're very versatile and flexible.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's already enough. That's like 5 things just from
That's
saying
amazing.
a tongue,
Do you ask many people this like your clients?
Yeah, I know all my clients. I'll ask random people. My clients, I know everything about them. I don't want to. This one, like, I already know this one, But random people that I don't know, if I want to get to know them a little bit, I'll ask that, or I'll ask like, if you were in a football game, what position will you play, and why? And if they know sports, I'll be able to tell so much about them.
Yeah.
Because if you want to play goalkeeper, you're definitely different than someone who wants to play an attack.
Yes.
If you want to play midfield on the wing, it's different than if you want to play defense. So all this tells you about something about the person.
What would you say about someone who was playing in defense?
In defense, that means that's how they play life.
Defensive.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I could sit and talk to you all day. Thank you so much.
My
Honestly,
pleasure.
thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody who's listened and watched as well.